Dolphins #1, baby.
Up, baby.
Dolphins #1.
I swear, if a certain quarterback is mentioned in the comments, I got my beers ready. I'm gonna crack it open.
Or is it the Serbian kid?
Serbian kid,
This looks done. Oh my God, it looks fantastic.
I'm the man. I said it, and it's reality. All right.
Congratulations.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Talk, Fins Talk. I'm your host, Steve Malloy, and as always, joining me tonight is Rob Mosley, a.k.a. Dolphin Thirsty. And we got a special guest tonight. We have Culler Commentary. Culler, how you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, guys. How you guys doing? Thank you so much for inviting me. I know short notice or not, I was definitely right on that when I saw that. I'm like, wow, that's cool. Let's do it, man.
Yeah, well, we're happy to have you on. So, Culler, since you are our guest, tell us a little bit about what you're doing and where fans can catch you.
So, if you've never caught me before, most of my work is done over at a nice little channel on YouTube called the Fins Tailgate. Some of you may have heard of them. I do the bulk of my work there. I do have a color commentary channel, with a couple hundred subscribers that I will be getting content out on, but we are trying to grow the Fins Tailgate as a group of guys, great group of guys. You all know El Capitan, Ali the Persian, Lewis, Rabid Dolphin, and of course DTA. And I know I'm forgetting somebody, so I'm going to probably take a lot of heat. But of course, our guy in the back, HB, we appreciate all his graphic design too. Y'all know, I'm pretty sure you guys know how important that stuff is for the whole bang. You know what I mean? You guys always look great too. Thank you. Always pleasing to watch your show. So get over to the Fins Tailgate, subscribe. We usually go late night. We try to keep a tailgate atmosphere going on. So late night during the week, even all throughout the off season, we grew. We started last year, and I joined them probably got started in November of last year, but I mean last year, 2021, and I joined up with El Capitan probably around February of 2022, and we kind of. We are already out of the playoffs and all that year. So, we kind of went right into the off season, grew to where we were at leading into this season. Everybody had high expectations. That's all fun, but it ends up kind of being a little more of a late night show. Like we try to be honest with our takes, but at the same time, we're going to try to make you laugh. And that's usually how our main focus. So comedy is always first in my life because smiling actually produces eustress, and that can always help the old heart. So
yes, indeed.
Absolutely. Definitely. Thank you, Culler.
Thank
Rob, what do you got going on at dolphinthirsty.com and of course Dolphins Daily?
All good stuff. Dolphinthirsty.com. I have, RTA, it's Trivia Tuesday, so I got the latest Dolphins trivia up there. I got the Hill hiring on the defensive staff, and I got a lot of draft prospects I've been writing up every single day to keep updated. So it's been a lot of fun, keep me busy. And on our Dolphins Thirsty YouTube network, we've been doing a lot of draft talk, and also mentioned the Hill and the Fangio interview and all that press conference and all that stuff. But at this time of year, we're starting to shift to a lot of draft stuff moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, great. Thank you. Please, everyone, like, subscribe, share with your friends, your family, and your neighbors. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. I know you're going to get us there. You guys are a great group in this community with the Fins Talk Sports Network. We appreciate you all. Just remember, we might not always agree on everything, but there's one thing we do agree on is we are all Dolphin fans. All right.
That is true.
Yep. So let's get this show on the road. I wanted to talk a little bit tonight about the hiring of Vic Fangio, a little bit about the defense, what they need to do to improve, and also, of course, the Ronaldo Hill hiring, a little bit about that, and then we'll go on with some other stuff I'd like to talk about too. But let's start off with the Vic Fangio hiring. I'll start off by saying is I watched some of the press conference, and I'll be quite frank with you. I'm happy about his hiring. I think he's going to be a great asset to this Dolphins football team. I mean, we got the best, probably one of the best, innovative, evolving, as what I saw in his press conference, defensive coordinator in football. When I heard him talking, it gave me such a breath of fresh air. He was genuine, I feel. He was straight up. He's old school, yet like I mentioned, he's evolving. And he even said that. He even said that he was going to use the players and put them in a position that best fits their skills. And I like that. I like that idea. And when he was asked about another thing he was asked about is, what about Super Bowl? Are the Dolphins ready, getting in Super Bowl? Something of that nature. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, he said, look, let's have our first practice first, and that's what I like about Vic Fangio is he wasn't blowing smoke up our asses. And that's what I liked about him. And and you know what? Everybody's talking about, well, he's going to bring his defense here to Miami, but you know what? He might surprise us. He might have some tricks up his sleeve. Rob, what say you about that hiring of Vic Fangio?
Yeah, I liked it. It was, anticlimactic because we heard weeks ago he was going to be the guy, and it took finally forever until after the Super Bowl when he was hired. But yeah, he was the big catch in the offseason of, defensive coordinators' names being thrown out and about. And he was the guy that most Dolphin fans wanted, and they went and got him. And let's hope, it works out because, it doesn't always work out every time Dolphin fans get what they want. So let's just hope this time it works out. I'm happy. Like you, I'm off the charts happy. He's the guy I wanted. He comes in with experience as a coordinator, obviously. He has like 36 years in the NFL. He has a head coach experience, which always helps a younger guy like McDaniel to fall back on. So there's nothing not to like about it. So we're just seeing what the production is on the field next year, but I'm loving it in the off season. It's a great move.
Yeah. Like they say, time will tell.
Yeah.
Culler, what's your opinion? How did you see, did you watch the press conference with Vic Fangio?
Yeah, we ran through it when I don't know if it was live when we were running through it because we went a little early the other night when it came out. Not live, but when it was posted, and it was hey, I kind of quote all of what you guys have said, on the surface as far as, yeah, I like the guy. I like his attitude. He's a footballer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Up here. And, first and foremost, he seems like the kind of guy that's not going to put up with the type of tackling that we've seen for the last couple of years, putting aside Cater Kohu, he may institute the Cater Kohu school of open field tackling, which all of our linebackers might need to attend, but that being said, there are so many dynamics involved with this hire that I think it's one of those things that you can look back and say on the big picture in the macro, forget what other problems, other things we need to upgrade, put everything aside. You can say our offseason was a win just on this hire alone. You know what I mean? Because I wasn't one that necessarily thought that that there was a, I'm a, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of guy. And I don't necessarily think that our problems, our regression this year on defense were exclusively under the purview of our head coach, but I mean our defensive coordinator. But
Right.
that is who's responsible for getting things right, no matter who your players are, as Fangio said. You know what I mean? And as McDaniel said, when it comes to how he handles players and scheming and all that, and as Brian Flores said too, you know what I mean? You coach to the strengths of your players. You accentuate the strengths of your players, and that's how you win. That's
Yeah.
Bill Belichickian. That's how Bill Belichick wins. You know what I mean? So, I could go back further than Bill Belichick. I'm not saying it's just him. I mean,
Right.
that's good football, bottom line.
Mhm.
And so when you talk about you need to you have a chance to upgrade what you got there, and you upgrade to a guy like Fangio who, look, he's going to command respect in the room. He's not an asshole, for lack of a better word. You know what I mean? Although maybe might be a little stern.
Yeah,
That's
I
okay.
agree. I agree.
You
He
know,
does look a little stern. Yeah.
But he also looks kind of like if they were to make a movie out of him, I think he could be played by Rodney Dangerfield. Like, and they could
Wait
make
a minute, Rodney Dangerfield didn't get any respect. What are you
I was
talking
gonna say they could make a quasi comedy out of it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But
yeah.
that being said, there's so many aspects that he brings to the table. He is of course saying the right things, doing the right things. But I've always noticed when it comes to a DC falling back from head coach, usually they end up being fairly successful.
Mhm. Yeah.
It worked out in a case with the Rams with Wade Phillips, something that our organization probably needs just as much as the Rams did with a young guy like McVay. And I'm not trying to throw shade on McDaniel. I'm just trying to say,
Right.
hey, the plate's full and he's a skinny guy like me. You know what I mean? It's going to take him time to eat all that,
Yeah.
So
Well,
guy like Fangio, no offense, Wade Phillips or Vic Fangio, they got a bigger belly. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
know it
no,
seems kind of like a weird analogy because it's true,
Yeah.
but all that being said, it's a good move. And I don't see, I'm glad we did it. I think it's the best thing we could have done for ourselves.
no, you're right. I agree, and I do think that he's going to take a lot of the burden off of McDaniel. He's definitely, now McDaniel can concentrate on what he does best, right? Not just coaching, which he definitely needs some improvement on that, especially clock management. We all know that. We've seen that last year. But just it takes a lot of he doesn't have to worry about that defense now, other than overseeing it and make sure things are, going in place and, and everything. But that's this one less thing he's got to worry about. So I think he's going to be a great asset to McDaniel for sure. And I like him. He's a stern guy. I see that. What I really like about him is he's an older guy. He's an older guy, mature guy like myself. But he's evolving. He studies. He studies football, and this is like a 24/7 thing for him. And he's like the Tom Brady of defensive coordinator. And he's always thinking how to improve and all that. So yeah, I think he's going to be a great hire.
I suspect he wanted to be here too, because he lives in Florida, and
Right.
I mean, if you get a guy like that and that's comfortable, I mean, we all perform our best when we're comfortable.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think he was living in the Destin area, up in the Panhandle area there. Let's talk about, before we get into the defense, basically what improvements they can make or should make. Let's talk a little bit about the Ronaldo Hill hiring. The defensive backs
Yeah,
coach.
he's kind of basically in charge of like defensive pass game,
Right.
coordinator is the
Right.
terms that they're using for him. But overall, I like it. He has an interesting background. He's played for the Dolphins. He's coached on the Dolphins prior to this stint, and now he's back as a player. It's funny, in his 3 seasons, it's a fun note real quick. I was researching him for one of my trivia questions today. He played 3 seasons with the Miami Dolphins, and he had 3 different head coaches because they changed. He came right at the end of Nick Saban, so Nick Saban's last year he did.
Right.
And he was the one and done Cam Cameron, and then the first year of Sperano. So he has those 3 coaches. Then he coached under Adam Gase in 2018 as an assistant.
Oh, don't say Adam
I mean,
Gase.
look at all those connections that, like, and now he's working with McDaniel.
So what kind of coach was he with us when under
assistant secondary coach in 2018? So
And
I know
I
we don't
mean,
want to
we
put
had-
that. We
we had-
don't want to put that on
Didn't we have
resume.
Rashad Jones at that time?
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would have to look.
Balling out.
Yeah. So hey, he did. So
He had some talented. He had a talented defensive back for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think overall, I know people would point to his defensive coordinator numbers not being the best, but he's not going to be the defensive coordinator here. He's going to be able to focus, more refined on what Fangio tells him to refine on, and he's not, the defensive ranks are going to fall on Fangio's shoulders, not him. So I'm fine with the hire. I think it's a good hire, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm not elated about it. I'm like I said, time will tell.
Yeah.
Cap for life. How you doing, brother? Nice to have you on. I see a lot. Anthony's on. Anthony Mansano. I hope I didn't butcher your name. Evan's on. We got, of course, my man, Mr. John M. Santos. Appreciate you for joining us tonight. Let's talk a little bit about Culler. Did you have any take on Ronaldo Hill? Did you have anything to say about him?
Not really, except he's a Dolphins alum, so
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, and there is something to be said. I know it seems kind of, a lot of people don't hold as much water to it as I do, with good reason, pun intended, because it's hot in Miami.
Yeah.
Like really hot. So you got a guy coming in who's played in the heat before.
Yeah.
Who's coached in it, who's seen its effect on his own team and the opponent. I like bringing those guys in because they're likely to be like me and understand how, just how important, how significant that can be. We saw it this year.
Yeah, for sure.
It single-handedly helped us beat Buffalo.
Madison and Surtain. Yeah.
And that's not to take any shade away from our team. We still did what we needed to do to beat them.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the very end, it was like their offensive linemen are dropping like flies.
Yeah, and during the Shula year, man, we really took advantage of it during the Shula era. We were like almost invincible at home if we had an early season game at home. When
those games when JT would just take over the game, where it's like, hey, we're up by 4. Our defense kind of needs to get a stop, and all of a sudden JT's running it back for a touchdown. You know what I mean? On a strip sack. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, we'll take that. That's heat, man. That he used to know how to take advantage of that late in the game.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good.
And hello, point. Evan. By the way, we never ignore you, Evan. If you're saying who is Evan, Evan, you rock, and we can't wait till you get back on the bandwagon.
Absolutely, can't wait for the bandwagon.
Which is why, you got the JT helmet back here with the.
I got you. Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
There.
Sure.
All right, sure. That one.
Looking sharp back there.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the defense, the Miami's defense, how they did last year. So last year under the Boyer regime,
he'll be back. I'm sure he probably just fell out. It happened.
Under the Boyer regime, we had total defense. We were 15th. Total points allowed. We were 24th. Passing yards allowed, we were 27th. Here's where we did well at, and that was in rushing yards allowed. We were in 6th. because they pass a lot on us.
Yeah. Hey, but we still did well. And so am I, Evan. So am I. Writing up draft reports every day and as they feed me to them. And I'm like, okay, at least this is how I'm learning, because normally I read all about, he's back.
Sorry about that, guys.
No problem.
I thought F4 was my hotkey for muting. I was going to cough and I hit F4 and it dropped me out of the stream for some reason.
Yeah, it's all good.
No
You
problem,
came
man.
back,
No
so.
problem. No problem. Where was I? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Rushing yards allowed. There were 6th. Passing touchdowns allowed, 26th. Rushing touchdowns allowed, 19th. There were 13 in yards per offensive play allowed. Here's where they were bad at too, was third down percentage. They were 24th, our defense. Fourth down percentage, 15th. A little better there. Red zone percentage, 23. Sacks, they were 17th. Takeaways, they were 31st. Bad. And penalties, they were 4th. So bad.
4th being bad, right?
Being bad, yes.
Right.
So they've got a lot. He's got he's got a big challenge on his hand. Let's put it that way.
I would have thought the red zone would have been tighter. I thought we did better in the red zone than that number reflects, but you have to go with what it is.
59.3%.
Right.
So, yeah. So he's got a lot of work on his hand, a lot of work here. Sacks. I don't know if we're going to see a lot of sacks, improvement in sacks, because he says that a lot of folks have said, he didn't say, a lot of folks have said that he doesn't blitz a lot. But from what I understood in the press conference, he said he doesn't like to be put in the position to have to blitz. He likes to be the dictator of when to blitz or not. So I like that. I like that philosophy. So it's going to be interesting to see if that improves. Penalties, we definitely need to improve in that. There was as you remember, in that one game where Mike McDaniel said, "Get this stuff together." Remember that?
Was I think that was the Lions game. But we also had offensive penalties against the Vikings. So there was a few games that really stunk penalty wise.
Well, even both sides of the ball, we need to improve on that.
Yeah.
And another one that where Flores, he had the defense, just doing great, was the takeaways. We were 31st in takeaways. 31st.
Which really double bugs me, because you could say, okay, well, if our tackling is that bad, but we're first in takeaways, well, now we understand why our tackling is bad, because we're punching the football out. But we're not even getting either, man. It's like, what are you doing if you're not taking the ball away and you're not making the tackle? What are you doing on the
No.
He's gonna have to take him right back to basic fundamentals. Football 101 is what's gonna happen. And
Stetson.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
So we're way down there in a lot of categories as far as ranking goes. It would be an improvement even if he top 10. Man, that's asking for a lot, in 1 year.
He has the talent, though. If people stay healthy, of course, being the big key word in Miami Dolphins.
If
stay healthy.
I'm on record as saying we were going to hold the first position for at least 1 week this year, and it never came to fruition. We actually went backwards.
Yeah,
but that's because of what Rob just said was the talent. We should do this.
Right. And that's another thing he did say about, he said, well, as far as talent goes on paper. So, there might be some changes. We might have some changes coming,
there's going to definitely be changes. I mean,
as far as personnel, as far as personnel, we might not have the same personnel in place.
No, there's of course not. Just the salary cap alone, there's going to be cuts and trimming.
So, and I don't want to, make predictions and stuff like that, but are we able, with the talent we do have, are we going to be able to get an organic pass rush? Because Christian Wilkins is not an Aaron Darnold. He's not going to bull his way in there and make sacks. You know, he's quick. You know,
He's gonna get more out of Phillips and Chubb.
We're gonna have to. We're gonna have to for sure. So,
and you know, I think even Fangio kind of said it, or at least alluded to it. We get a full camp out of Chubb, and then we can make a real evaluation of what we're looking at. And I think that evaluation, in my opinion, I predict to be positive. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So do I.
And also correlating to and downstream affecting to guys like Wilkins and Phillips.
Yeah, I agree.
Barring any change in personnel, which I'll let you get to on your own.
No. I that was just something I threw out there, some food for thought. But I'm with you. I think there's going to be a lot of positive changes, whether we have to make changes in personnel or not. I think it's going to be for the best for the team. You know, and that's another thing I don't like. I don't like it when folks get so hooked on a player. You know, oh my God, Christian Wilkins, we're going to lose Christian Wilkins. Yeah, but you're going to get back 3 or 4 draft picks. You know what I mean? For the future. You know,
using the draft picks, that's the issue. You have to use the draft picks wisely. Look how much we got back for Tunsil. We're still not any better off, you know. Playoff victory rise.
I'll leave the Penguin alone for right now. I know it's a contentious issue.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it just baffles my mind if folks get hooked on players. Well, you know, I did it. I used to do it. You know, I like, oh no, I don't want my favorite player to go. But hey, man, you got to look at the whole. You got to look at the big picture. You know, and that's the thing. And that's one thing I did want to talk about real quick. What do y'all think about maybe trading a Christian Wilkins? For what do you think we can get for a Christian Wilkins? Rob, I'll start with you.
You would get at least a first. You're not going to get a, Tunsil haul, but you might get a first because it's not one of the cornerstone positions. But you might get a first for him and then some other. You're not going to get double. You're not going to get 2 firsts for him. You would get a first and maybe. That's a good question. I mean, only the open market, if there's competition, the other teams want him, then you can drive up the price. But if if only one team wants him, like I say, it'd probably be a later first round pick because defensive tackle is critical. We all know in the trenches, we say it all the time, it's critical, but it's still not the cornerstone.
It is, but defensive tackles are not going to win you a Super Bowl.
No, that's it. So that's why I don't think you're going to get too much of a because left tackle, we were able to get that because that's a cornerstone position that teams need to fix. So we were able to drive up the price on tons. So quarterbacks, of course. I mean, cornerbacks, and edge rushers in this NFL today are the ones. But, those are the cornerstones. So defensive tackle, I think a team would give you a first and maybe a later round pick. I mean, that's just my guesstimate. I have done no research. A good question, though.
Right. How about you, Culler? What's your take?
That's about my estimation as well. The first justification for the first would be is a team that's about to draft a D tackle that's looking for that caliber out of the gate from the draft. Are they willing to give up their first for that? So it may be a later first, for a clever team like the Patriots or somebody, you know what I mean?
Right. Oh no, not the Patriots.
But yeah, it should garner a first because it would stop a team. It would stop a team from having to use a first on a ready-made DT in the draft. So that definitely, you got to get something else besides one draft pick. So yeah, a later round or even 2 almost Wilkins players, How
about this?
Your practice squad or something.
How about this? I know this is and a little money. This is going to start a crap storm. How about trading Wilkins for Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, do we need a Wilkins and a lot more than that?
We got some players we can give them.
They're going to want picks, though, my friend.
You think they're going to want picks?
Yeah, they're going to want picks because that's where
which means who gets you the most.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right on that. But
anyway, you're right, Evan. I think Wilkins and Zach Sealer is both going to be Dolphins next year. I agree, but
I think so.
It is a fun question, though, Steve.
You never know. They traded Larry Tunsil.
Yeah, Laramie. Yeah, but that's
Laramie Tunsil.
Yeah,
you never know.
Tunsil, But, that was a great haul. I mean, I don't think he was going out saying, I'm going to trade him. But when they call and say, hey, I'm going to give you this, and he keeps on adding picks, he's like, at some point, you got to sell. It's just like everyone has a price.
That's true.
Yeah, and that's the thing. What we said first round pick and a fifth or something like that. What is the threshold of, hey, we're not looking to trade him at all because we want him as part of our core group? Going back to what you were talking about earlier about when we were growing up, it was like you had about 20, 25 players on the team that you were like, these guys are Dolphins for life. And you could always, you didn't even have to, you could memorize the roster once and know who was on your team for like a good 10 years straight.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
And it just ain't like that anymore.
No, it's not. And no team is. Everyone.
Bobby, how long do we have left? Bobby?
Yeah, no, I would say, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. Go for it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we weren't.
Yeah, I'll try to be a little more
No, you're good.
But,
you're good, Culler. You're good.
You're having fun. Have fun.
And these days, I think we're still in a point. We're still better off than baseball, where our core group is still more than 4 guys. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think still. Is Wilkins part of the core group? Is he not? Well, maybe he is, but that's my point, is that even the guys in the core group, you got to look at it like, okay, we said we'd take a first or a fifth, but man, what if some doofus team comes calling up saying, we'll give you 2 firsts and a second and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, then
you know what I mean? And it's like,
bye.
Where is that threshold with Christian Wilkins?
Right.
Because it's going to be different than what I said. It wouldn't be 2 picks and all that. But, is it better than 1 pick, than a first round and a fifth? Is it a first round, a fifth, and another player, or, whatever it is? And then you could ask that question for a lot of star players on our team, or at least players that are seen as star players in the league. Jalen Waddle is one, because if and that's the same place I'm at with Waddle. I'm not talking about proactively trading him or even shopping him. But if some team like Jacksonville, who gave a bag to Christian Kirk, wants to give us a bag for Waddle, are we gonna? I mean, what is that bag gonna be enough to go and get a guy like, have leverage to get a guy like Lamar Jackson?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, the problem is we need to keep good players instead of get good. At some point, you got to stop rebuilding, just say we're going to be the team and whatever, because it's stunk. We got oh my God, I'm having a brain fart right now. The safety that we had from Alabama, and he went to Pittsburgh, whatever his darn name is. Mika Fitzpatrick. Thank you.
Fitzpatrick,
he was balling out, but just because he didn't get along with once Flores got away, we traded. It's just, here we go. They were trading away a good guy that had, he would have been phenomenal in our. You just have to,
right.
And that falls on him too, because he was crying about not getting. He didn't like the position he was playing in, and yada yada. But it just hurts when you trade away. We know how long it takes Chris Greer to get a good draft pick. You get a good draft pick, you bring him in there, and then you trade him away because he doesn't get along with the new head coach that came in once Adam Gase left. So
you're not talking about Fitzpatrick anymore, right?
Yeah, no, I am Minka Fitzpatrick. So
well, he's with Brian Flores now.
Yeah,
he was last year.
He was.
Flores
got I know, of course,
position
but he had no
with
choice
Minnesota. I think
they hired him, but it was bad.
Is it with Minnesota? Is he with Minnesota? Flores?
He got hired.
He got him.
DC,
was it Minnesota?
DC, yeah.
That's a good position for him. Honestly, I liked Flores, man. I mean, I don't know.
He was okay when he was here. I don't like how he burnt the bridges when he left, and left us.
I agree.
I know he got his name slashed around, and he probably didn't like that because all these leaks come out. Oh, he wasn't talking to coaches, and he wasn't doing this. So he goes, oh, yeah, I'm going to give you a punch right back and take you to court,
Right.
And that hurt. The whole tampering thing sucked because now we don't have a number one.
Yeah, we lost the number one.
You don't get Brady, you don't get Champagne, but you lose the number 1 draft pick anyway. So it's just, it's like, ouch.
Yeah.
I knew it was all platitudes when the meme came out that said he told the Publix girl that Jimmy John's subs were better. I'm like, nobody is that dumb to prefer Jimmy John's over Publix. So I'm sorry, man.
Man, I do miss them Publix.
I like Jimmy John's. I don't know. We may have an issue here. So.
Well, yeah, I'm not
Uh-oh.
saying it's not okay to
Rob,
like
you're
them. I'm
banned
just
from Real
saying,
Talk.
would you?
Yeah.
Okay, better question. If one of them went out of business or stopped making their subs, which one would you be able to live better without?
I don't know. I go to Jimmy John's more for subs than I do Publix, I will say. So I don't know.
Okay.
But now Publix, I just like it because it's quick and it's not as I like the bread better.
Right.
And everything.
Right.
So,
Well, Jimmy John's is kind of a decent place. Maybe it was a bad comparison, but
I mean, Publix is good too. Don't get me wrong. I've had plenty of Publix subs, so I always, it's all good. See, we're all off, but I like that. We're off topic, so that's great. We can only whine about the Dolphins so much.
It's off season.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. Let me answer this question. And this is by our Evan Posner. He said, we do not need a running back at quarterback. He's injury prone also. Well, he's talking about Lamar Jackson.
Right.
Well, here's my thoughts on that. If we were to get Lamar Jackson, hypothetical, guys, don't everybody go crazy here on the chat, please. Okay, this is just hypothetical. He's not going to be used like he's being used in Baltimore, number one. Number two, he's going to add so much of a dynamic to this offense. It's not even funny. Okay.
But if he's not going to be used like he is in Baltimore, is he going to be good? I mean,
yes, he is. Who did he have as receivers in Baltimore? Who did he have? Did he have Waddle? Did he have Tyreek Hill? Did he have Trezecki?
And his game, you can't teach those guys. He's going to run the ball. That's just what he does. It's in his system.
I'm not saying he's not going to run the ball, but look, he was an accurate passer. He's not that bad of a passer. He's got a strong arm. He adds another dimension. The running, like you said, and I don't think he's going to run. He was running over 100 and something times in Baltimore. Hey, if he runs 50 or 60 times, that's less wear and tear on his body, and he's probably not going to be susceptible to get injured. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's going to be used like in Baltimore where he's been running. He doesn't have anybody to throw to, but Andrews. So that's just my thoughts on that. I know you guys, you have a different take on that.
Of course, that's what makes it fun. That's what makes fans fun.
Remember, we may disagree on some things, but
I'm just not as high.
We are all Dolphin fans.
I'm just not as high as Lamar Jackson as you are. That's all. And he's a South Florida kid. I'm born and raised, and I'm one of the minorities here, living 52 years my whole life here in South Florida. I haven't moved. So I love these South Florida kids. It's like Mike White, the backup of the Jets. I still know, even though he's a Jet, it's fun to watch these South Florida kids grow into NFL players. But it's just, I'm just not as big on him as you are.
And this one's real close for me. I mean, Boynton Beach is like right down the road from me, man.
Oh, yeah. So, I'm Pembroke Pines here. So
right.
Yeah.
But I just don't know. I can't think of anybody more tailor-made in this universe to run the type of offense that McDaniel wants to run than one Lamar Jackson.
I agree.
Like, he is born and bred to do exactly what we need our quarterback to do in this offensive system.
Yeah, I agree 100%. He adds that dynamic of running, rolling out of the pocket, throwing the ball. He's got a strong arm. And he's rather.
And the way McDaniel schemes out these zones, these counter traps, where he'll pretty much take the entire defense to one side of the field.
Yeah.
Case in point on the play in Cincinnati. Look at the grass when Tua got slung to the ground, and that the injury happened. Right.
No, don't worry about it. He's going to be taken care of next year. He's learning judo.
Right. Well, but look at the grass that was around him.
Steve.
That's a touchdown on that play if we had Lamar Jackson on that play, man.
That's true.
I know it's like, you're relying on the run and all that, but at some point, it doesn't mean you have to all the time, but to know that you have that capability if everything breaks down. I think a lot of why we see forced runs and Lamar taking it right up without even looking at nothing is just like what you said. There is nobody to game plan to. Nobody in Baltimore is doing what McDaniel is doing, having these guys open all over the field. I mean,
Yeah, I agree. That's a good point,
it's
Culler.
real
You're
tough.
right.
I agree with what everybody says though about it's such an unsure thing, but the word you used was perfect, and it was dynamics. I mean, the dynamics involved with this athlete,
Well, he's
even
had
if we
time. I
got
mean, he was
2
an injured
years
too,
out of
so I'm
him,
not
would change
denying.
this entire organization. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
I think so. That's just my opinion.
Oh,
You
I know
know,
he's an
who am I,
MVP
though,
in the
right?
past. I'm not denying that he's, that he can be a dynamic player again because he's shown it on his resume. But I just don't think he's the. You got to draft well is what you have to do. We keep on throwing this and that, and then you have to give him the big money to go along with all that. And I know we're just talking fantasy talk, but it makes no current financial sense or draft capital sense for the Miami Dolphins right now to even look at it. That's how I just look at it.
I'm just gonna say you both make good points.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
My whole thing is that you're not going to see it probably for a long time. A guy like that. You know?
Yeah, no doubt. He's 1 in a million, right? You're right about that. Okay, here's the $1 million question I want to ask you. Okay. Are the Dolphins Super Bowl contenders this coming year?
Who's that to me or Culler?
I'll go with you first, Rob.
Are they Super Bowl contenders? As we stand right this minute, no, because we got to rework the books. We got to see what the draft tells. So I'm going to go Fangio on you and say, let's see a practice first, or at least a preseason game first before we make that. But if I have to say, are we going to be among the teams that can be mentioned? Yeah, if things go right, because we were competitive last year until, things went off the rail. So could we get back in that storyline if your favorite quarterback Tua stays healthy all year and Armstead plays more games and Fangio shapes out the defense, then yes. But, a lot has to happen. We got to bring in right players, trim the wrong player. It's a lot. Trim the right players depending on how you look at it. So
are we rebuilding?
No, we're not rebuilding, but we're not. I'm going to say Super Bowl. Are we in the class of the Eagles and the Chiefs right now? No. But can we get there by maybe the start of the season, and as the season progressed, improve? Yes.
Okay. All right. Culler.
Well, I think our intention is to finally to build a Super Bowl contender, which is what my firm belief is, that, you build a Super Bowl contender, you build a team for the Super Bowl. You don't build it for the playoffs. You build a team for the Super Bowl and you stumble through the playoffs a couple years on the way. You don't build for the playoffs and keep stumbling through the playoffs the rest of your life. You know what I mean? And I think that our intention is to build for the Super Bowl. So in that respect, on paper, yeah, I kind of see us as a Super Bowl contender. I think a lot of people league wide want to see us that way. And in the media, it's almost like we're waiting to exhale. You know what I mean? We could argue about one piece of the puzzle that would make it overnight. But in some respects, I could say no, with the tackling way our linebackers, the lack of tackling from our linebackers, and which, by the way, directly translated to that third down percentage number you were talking about, in my opinion. I don't see us being able to compete, i.e. contend with what we saw in the later rounds of the playoffs this year, much less the Super Bowl. So I'm not going to lay it all on the offense and Tua's feet and all that. But I think that it's easier to fix those issues year over year. We've got Fangio in the building. Guys are going to get healthy. Our defense we're going to be at least starting with the pieces we had to start with last year, barring any trades or whatever. And last year I was ready to call us a number one defense. So in that respect, yeah, I think we're Super Bowl contenders. Overnight, we're Super Bowl contenders if you're talking about doing, and again, no shade on the quarterback we currently have, because we can compete with the quarterback we currently have, just like we could have competed. This is what I meant earlier. We could have competed with Josh Boyer.
Yeah.
But were we really satisfied with that? You know what I mean? Because here again with Josh Boyer, everybody's injured. Oh, well, he might have had no problems and might still be our defensive coordinator if everybody don't get injured.
Yeah.
Well, but a guy like Fangio, injury schmimjury, you know what I mean? It's like, so
right.
upgrade. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
that's all
it
I
is.
mean about the
It is.
quarterback. Overnight, we'd be a Super Bowl contender with a Super Bowl caliber quarterback.
Yeah, well, no doubt, no doubt. I think we're a Super Bowl contender.
Hey, you asked the question, Steve.
Well,
You
I
should
know.
have your answer.
I'm thinking about my own question here. Man,
Oh, one other thing, our coaching needs to get to that point too. So we still
I
have
agree.
a lot to see growth from our coaching that needs to happen too.
True. Look, I think here's a positive point, okay? I think our defense is going to be improved. Do I think it's going to be 10? Maybe not. Maybe 15. That's an improvement. Look, Kansas City's defense, they won the Super Bowl. Their defense wasn't the best in the world. But here's the key. They had a quarterback and they had a good offense.
Yeah, but that's Patrick Mahomes. You can't even mention Lamar Smith in the same breath as Patrick Mahomes now. Don't go getting crazy.
No. Wait. I'm not.
Okay.
I don't make comparisons on here. You know that.
All right.
All I'm saying is, in order for us to be a Super Bowl contender, and I do think Tua can make a jump. I think he can improve. Okay. And here's where he needs to improve at. He needs to improve on being consistent. That's the number one thing. He's not consistent. Okay. He's got to give me more than 6 or 7 good games a year. He's got to give me 12, 13, because that's what good quarterbacks do. Not elite quarterbacks. Good quarterbacks. Real good quarterbacks are consistent over the years and through the year. So he's got to give me that. He's got to read defenses better, which I think he will do with the help of him playing against a Fangio defense in the offseason, even though they don't use a lot of the stuff, in practice and stuff. He's going to have Fangio to get some tips and to ask questions. And Tua is a student of the game. I know he would be the type who would be asking a lot of questions. He's a humble kid. So I think he can improve that way. And of course, we all know his injury history. Now, that was a joke. Him doing judo classes is a freaking joke. Okay. I don't know who put him up to that in saying that, but he's making himself and the organization look like a joke. I'm just saying that's my opinion. I could be wrong. I could be right, but that's just my opinion. He's got to stay healthy. He's got to stay on the field. He's got to give me more than 13 games a year. He's got to let me see him play 17 games. 17 games. And out of those 17 games, give me 12 games, good games. And as far as quarterback goes, yes, then I think we are Super Bowl contenders if he can do that. Number 2, I think we've got to give him the protection that he needs. Okay, we got to get a right tackle. We got to get a left guard. And we need to get him help in the backfield. We need a running back. And I said this last week, and Rob, you remember, we don't need an elite running back. We don't need Barkley. All we need is maybe a Miles Sanders. I think he's going to be available. He played with Philly. I like him. I think he would fit well in the system. A Kareem Hunt. They're not going to demand a lot of money, The same with the offensive line, across the offensive line. We don't have to pay big bucks for all pros. Just give us a somebody slightly better than a Brandon Shell on right tackle. Somebody to compete with him, and a left guard, because Eichenberg and Austin Jackson, they're not going to do it, man. I'm telling you right now, they're not going to do it. We're going to have the same problems last year if they put them in the lineup again. But that's what I think we need to be Super Bowl contenders. I think the one piece, the defense, will be taken care of. I think Tua is going to improve. I think he's going to do better at reading defenses. I think he's got to improve that consistency. He's got to be consistent. Like I said, give me those 12 games. And he can do it. He can do it.
Staying healthy is his biggest.
Staying healthy is the big issue. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the biggest. That's the biggest thing right there. And we need a backup. And we need I know I've heard people say, well, Skylar Thompson would be a good backup. I don't know. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, he showed okay, but I still think they would go with a veteran backup because if we really are continues, you don't want Skyler to be the main backup. He hasn't shown enough to say, oh, if Tua gets hurt, which he has a history of getting hurt, then you're going to depend on Skyler to get you that first playoff win in over 2 decades. That's not the guy you want. So I think they might hit the veteran market again. Now, is it going to be as a high price guy as we've gotten in the past couple of years where we're paying him upwards of close to $7 million, like $6 million, but a little over? I don't know. But, it just depends what the market bears, how much money we free up. I do hear some people saying they may bring back Bridgewater.
Oh, please no.
I
Please
know
no.
that's what I would say too.
I take Skyler over Bridgewater. Look, Skyler Thompson, man, he was all through last year in practicing, right, in the summer practicing. He had the better arm and he was the better passer and he was more consistent, even more consistent than our number one. He was. And what I mean by consistency, he doesn't have to be consistent. For talking about Tua, he doesn't have to be a consistent. If we're going from 1 to 10, right, a scale from 1 to 10, he doesn't have to be a consistent 10 or a consistent 9, even a consistent 8. He just needs to be a consistent 7. Just give me a consistent 7, like a Derek Carr. He's a consistent 7 throughout his years of playing football. That's all we need in him, especially within this system and the talent that he's surrounded with. Okay, because he does need that. I'm sorry, Tua's not going to carry the team. The team is going to have to carry Tua. He's not the receivers are going to have to help him out a lot. But I do, like I said, I think we're going to see. Evan's going to be happy for me to hear this. I think we're going to see some improvement in Tua if he can stay healthy. And I think he will be that consistent 7. I'm going to say that now.
All right. Hey, that's a big spin around, man. I'm happy, man. I can go back into the Dolphin chats on the Finstock Network on Twitter. And, I don't have to worry about you and Brett picking on Tua all day with your memes. I can go.
Hey, if he goes 13-0 in the 13 games he plays, I'm happy with that.
Hey, I'm happy with that too.
Take off the rest of the season.
Hell yeah. Sit on the bench, man. Yeah, heck yeah. I agree 100%. Hey. So anyway, look, guys, it's getting to be that time. Folks, please like, subscribe, share with your friends, your families, your neighbor. I enjoyed the time with you, caller. I appreciate it.
I really appreciate you having me, you guys, both
Absolutely.
of you, man.
We're probably going to definitely, we're going to have you back on again. Rob, as always, brother, I appreciate you. I couldn't do this show without you. Couldn't do the show without all the folks out there in the community and the chat. Appreciate you for joining tonight. I think we're going to have another question and answer session coming up in the next week or two. So folks, look forward to that. Thank you, Bobby Melendez, our producer and founder. Appreciate the great producing you do here. And thank you again for allowing us to join this great network. So with that said, Rob, what's your key?
Hey, I would say fins up, visit dolphinthirsty.com. If you want great mock drafts and stuff, visit Dolphins Thirsty on YouTube. We've been having fun mock drafts, having a good old time. We let you guys join in and draft your guys too. So all fun. Thank you.
Caller, where can they catch you again before we sign off?
You can always catch me at the Fins tailgate somewhere, at least some point of mostly every day. And if you'd like to, go ahead and give me a subscribe over at Culler Commentary on YouTube as well. But the Fins tailgate's where we're at. Give us a subscribe over there. We're up to like 4,500 or something because y'all are so great. And I wanted to say a personal hi to Kahari P in the chat. How you doing, buddy? They hit me up at the last second, man. Said, come on and join the channel. So I appreciate you guys. Thanks for letting me get our word out.
I'll go give you a follow. I hope for a follow back on my new growing channel. So.
I have already subscribed. I've subscribed to Dolphins Thirsty just about 20 minutes ago. So you should see me up there now.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure, man. And everybody do the same for both these gentlemen, for Finstock Sports Network. Bobby, I'm sure he's got another personal channel. Everybody else, make sure you're subscribing to everybody. It really helps out these guys, and it really helps everybody because it tells us you want us to keep doing it.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, we're burning our calories for nothing.
Exactly. I agree. All right. As always, Dolphins number one, baby.
Dolphins number one, fins up.
Dolphins number one.